briefly go through the YouTube Media project brief with you. Obviously, it's due to be handed in a couple of weeks, and the hand in for that will be a Turnitin hand in on the Moodle shell. So this will be in week 12. In the sometime after the first hour, you can start handing it in, and then it must be in by 1 o'clock that day. So don't think that you've got till the end of that day. You've got till you would ordinarily present something for me. So just to make a quick summary, you have to present a unique voice and content strategy for teens. And this is a solo creative project for YouTube. So you need to think about what the field of interest is, what have you discovered for this group and what's your unique offering in it. And your work will be graded on the usual criteria below. So if we have a look, the purpose, there's many billions of active YouTube users and lots of different business models. So this is not an unusual model for media or sector for media comms people to go into. Some of these are to the advantage of creators, some aren't, but it's definitely a go-to media choice for teens. So we need to have a think about it. If it's a new way of working in the media industry, then how can we think about a way to do it ethically and profitably? And is there anything new that you might be able to share in that space? So this is, unlike some of your previous work, this is going to be in the form of a report. And so that's a piece of writing, a piece of academic formal writing. And you also will film a piece of content which you create by yourself, and you need to upload it onto YouTube and then put within your report a link of that and also you'll need to take some screenshots from it and put that within your report, and also some images of your process. So if you can get a family member or a flatmate to take some photos of what you're also doing, that would be helpful to you. So the methodology is you need to find a field of interest for teens, but one that's not overdone already. So looking at makeup and looking at rap music, that's just already well overdone, well overused. So you're going to have to be more inventive than that. And then you need to look at what other YouTubers are sharing in that particular field. So, and what their audience looks like and what other things does that audience like. So, for example, you might find that this particular group of teens really enjoys, something silly like making muffins, and then you need to look at what other YouTubers are sharing that are in that kind of making muffins field, right? The field of interest. And what kind of things have they been sharing, which gives you some indication of what their audience likes. And you can also look at the comments on the bottom of their YouTube posts to get some kind of an idea about this. And this is, the kind of thing that you would do to show interest and to show research in this area is what's called content analysis. And I'll talk about that in a moment. So once you know this stuff, then you can decide what you want to be known for. So there'll be other things that audience like. They won't just like looking at recipe instructions for how you make great muffins. They might also spend their time looking at PewDiePie or somebody like that. So you need to have some idea of what other things that they're doing. So part of it is research, and then you're going to be writing down what you're doing. This is your report and the research that you're doing. and I'll go on to explain that. And you're developing one piece of filmed content that you're providing this live link for. And grading at the end is the report, the submission is the report in the film, and then you will eventually have portfolio pages and your notebook. So, course learning outcomes, you can read those yourself on the brief. I just want to go through the report really. The report format. Now, this is a very similar format that you would have to use for advanced projects, but that would be the expectation. There would be 4,000 words with about 20 references in it. Now, I'm not asking for anything like that, but this is just giving you a kind of feeling of what that kind of thing would be like. It's a different format than a dissertation, which is very much more formal and more like an essay supported by a methodology. This still needs a methodology, and that will be explained to you, but it's 700 words, and it just really gives an overview of what you've been doing. So your introduction is only about 100 words. That's pretty short, and it gives you just write a general context of YouTube. What is it? Who are you going to be trying to talk to? Well, it's going to be teens, and what you're trying to achieve in this project. Are you trying to create a piece of unique content that you think would speak to this particular set of teens that you've identified in this particular area? 100 words, it's very short. Your literature review, now this is something you won't be used to doing. This is how you look at academic text, and then you make use of them to support an argument that you're making. So you need to summarize the view of an academic text about YouTube and an academic text about your field of interest. So this academic text about YouTube might talk about why teenagers are using YouTube. An academic text about your field of interest might be why people are interested in looking at recipes on YouTube, because you want to talk about muffins. Yeah, so there will be academic texts on these things. Now, there is an academic text that I am giving you access to about YouTube. That's on Moodle. The academic text about your field of interest you need to find. So you're going to have to go into the databases and put in things that you're interested in, like recipes or muffins, or you can try and look in Google Scholar and see what comes up in terms of papers that have been written about recipes shared on YouTube. Something like that. You'd be amazed at what people write. And then you're going to need to tie this paragraph together so that your field and the community community is an example of what's being said about YouTube. So in the article about YouTube, they might be saying teenagers are really interested in instant information, and then the way that you're using your academic text about the field of interest might be, this is instant information on how you make the perfect muffin, and you don't have to have any further knowledge about cooking. So you can see in this way they're tied together. Right, this is your literature review. So in this as well, you need to describe the work of 3 YouTubers from that community. So you would have a text about YouTube, a text about your field of interest, which is recipes shared on YouTube, and then 3 YouTubers that are sharing information on YouTube about, with recipes and such like that you think are particularly pertinent to that area. So that's only 250 words. You need to weave them together, and that will provide the support for your argument. This is followed then by a methodology, which is describing a method of analysis. In this context, your methodology is going to be content analysis, and next week is when you're going to start reading something about it this week, which is going to be available on Moodle, but then you're going to start doing a bit more work on it next week. Yeah, so you're just going to talk about how you're going to apply what content analysis is, and how you're going to use it to analyze what you found on YouTube to help you make something. Again, that's very short. It's about 100 words. I'm going to be using content analysis. Content analysis is this particular methodology that allows me to have a look at YouTube and what they've been doing in this particular sector, and then I will then know what I can make. No, that's already about 100 words. So that then leads on to something called the practice review. And the practice review is people whose work that you like, that you would like to, and who's the kind of work that you would like to make. So, for example, if you were doing stuff about making muffins for YouTube and everybody else was making recipes, but actually the kind of stuff that you like is spoofs or pranks, or you might like people that create artworks out of things, then you would find 3 people that work in that kind of a way. That is your practice review, because they're going to influence you to make something. So all of a sudden, just say it was all about people that make artworks. Rather than showing recipes on how you make muffins, you would be showing artworks made out of muffins. That is the work that you would create. That is your own work that's down here, right? So you've got 3 YouTubers that have influenced your approach. Then in your own work, that section, which is again only 150 words, you describe your work and what you've understood from making it. So here's my work. I made some pieces of art out of muffins. In making it, I realised how difficult or interesting artworks are, and what you can do through the act of filming. So this is how you approach the report. And obviously you're going to have access to talking to me at certain times on chat, and then we can ask for further information at that point.